Hey everyone, Sebastian here, back again with another video from Bluebook Test 1. Reading and Writing Module 2B, Write the Harder Module, question 12. Today we're watching this on the day it came out right. It's the day right before the December test 2024. So if you're taking it tomorrow, good luck. And, watch this video, maybe study a little bit more, but take it easy tonight. Try to rest a bit before the test. Let's try it out. Researchers hypothesized that a decline in the population of dusky sharks near the mid-Atlantic coast of North America led to a decline in the population of eastern oysters in the region. Dusky sharks do not typically consume eastern oysters, but do consume cownose rays, which are the main predators of the oysters. Which finding, if true, would most directly support the researchers' hypothesis? So the hypothesis is that a decline in the population of dusky sharks near the mid-Atlantic will lead to a decline in the population of eastern oysters in the region. Okay? So what would show this is true? Well, their connection is saying basically that because dusky sharks don't eat oysters, they're not hurting them in that way, but they do eat their main predators, cownose rays, and that would help the oysters because then they'd have less of the predator, right? That's sort of the connection I'm seeing. So which piece of evidence would help that? Declines in the regional abundance of dusky shark's prey other than cownose rays are associated with regional declines in dusky shark abundance. Okay, so this is saying that if you're going down in the number, regional abundance, right, that's not very important. It's just saying in a certain area. Declines in the prey for dusky sharks other than cownose rays are associated with regional declines in dusky shark abundance. So this is just talking about the connection between other prey for dusky sharks and dusky sharks, not between oysters, right? Because we don't know if the other prey eats the oysters or not. So we're going to probably say A is minus. I'll just eliminate A, actually. Okay, I'm pretty confident that will be it. B, eastern oyster abundance tends to be greater in both areas with both dusky sharks and cownose rays than in areas with only dusky sharks. So this one brings up everything, right? It brings up the cownose rays, it brings up the eastern oysters, and it brings up the dusky sharks. But it's saying there are more eastern oysters in places where we have both dusky sharks and cownose rays, which doesn't really tie in with the hypothesis, right? The hypothesis is saying that the dusky sharks, if they decline, then the oysters would decline, and then we can assume it's because without dusky sharks there'd be more cownose rays. But here they're sort of saying by having cownose rays there'll be more oysters. So I would say that's a minus. Pretty sure it's not it, but I don't want to fully eliminate it. C, consumption of eastern oysters by cownose rays in the region substantially increased before the regional decline in dusky shark abundance began. Okay, interesting. So this would be like before the dusky sharks went down, right, the regional decline in them, cownose rays began eating a lot more of the oysters. And that, who knows why that would happen, but that still doesn't tie in with theirs, right? They're sort of saying fewer dusky sharks leads to more cownose rays, which leads to fewer of the oysters, right? So it's like that, but here they're sort of saying that it increased before the decline, right? So that would sort of show a disconnect between the number of dusky sharks and the number of eastern oysters being eaten. So I'd say C again is a minus. Let's look at D. Cownose rays have increased in regional abundance as dusky sharks have decreased in regional abundance. Okay. Remember what I drew up here, right? Where this is the shark, this is the rays, this is the oysters. I was saying this is what they're saying, right? That as sharks go down, rays goes up, and that means oysters go down. And this ties in with that, right? As dusky sharks have decreased, cownose rays have increased. And logically, because it's a predator for oysters, that would mean they'd be eating more oysters. And since they're eating more oysters, there'd be less oysters in the region. So D ties in perfectly with what we're saying, while everything else didn't really tie in at all, right? So it should be D. And they label this as a hard question because there's a lot of moving parts, right? There's you want to find the way to connect sharks to oysters. And the way you have to do that is through rays, who sort of go in the opposite way of the other two, right? If there's more sharks, there's more oysters because there's less rays. It's almost like they have an inverse relationship, while sharks and oysters have a direct relationship. So that's part of the issue. Then they also have a lot of words that are sort of like not that necessary, right? The main one I'm thinking is regional abundance. Regional abundance kept coming up, but you just understand they're saying as the population goes up of one thing, the population goes down of another thing in a region, right? They're not talking globally, and that makes sense, right? If you're talking about sharks in Australia, that doesn't really affect the sharks in California or something. So that's why they're saying regional abundance. And you just have to train your brain to like not focus on the words that don't matter that much so you can focus on the logic that does matter, okay? And if you have any questions on this, let me know. I would love to help with it. But it's not too bad of a question, right? You want to first identify the hypothesis and then you go from there, right? Sort of draw out these connections. Read all the answer choices, even if you'll feel confident about one. Like let's say D had been A, right? And immediately I would have been confident. I would have still read all the options just to make sure there wasn't something better. Okay, so good luck if you're taking the test tomorrow. If not, then keep up the good work with studying. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope it is sunny where you are. And if it's raining, I hope it's cleaning your windows and watering your plants. And I hope if you go swimming that there are only good sharks in the water that have no interest in us and they only want to eat cownose rays. Talk to you soon. Bye.